is to start on time, like that. At least we'll have time for questions, and they won't be passed along. So, as you know, the session today is on. Could we have the first presentation? The session today is on coordination and information management. So we have a few people here with us for this roundtable. So we have CJ Hendrix from the OCHA initiative. We have Stéphane Savarimuthu from the HCR, Vincent Annoni from the Impact and Reach initiative, and Edmond Wach from the Solidarités Internationale that will talk to us about the SIGMAH software. So before going into the detail about with each project on the question of coordination, I would just like to give a few of my ideas, of CartONG's ideas, on the question of coordination. For me, there are really two different types of coordination. So there's both the vertical side of coordination and the horizontal side. What I mean by vertical is the question of dissemination of information from the headquarters of different organizations to the field, and also in the other way around, bringing the information from the field to the web, which was actually the theme of the GeOnG in 2010. So that's one of the coordination types that we have. And the second type of coordination is horizontal, and it's often the most important one, the most difficult one to apprehend. So it's really the question of how different organizations in the field can organize themselves to work together. So it's also through this type of meeting when different people from headquarters meet and different partnerships are set up. The question is, what will it be like in 6 months when the two same organizations meet on the field? Will there be real exchange of information? Will there be a cloud set up for these organizations to share all the data that is collected? It's a real question. It's a win-win approach. If you share your data with this organization, they'll probably share it with you. So it's an important question to know to what extent the coordination that we can set up through this type of event will also be felt in the field. It's also a question of emergency. If there's an emergency, it's always hard to work together because everybody's in their little preoccupations because it's a crisis, it's an emergency. There's always unexpected events that happen, and it's very important to work together before the emergency to make sure that during the emergency things actually work out. And so it's a question of working before on the question of mitigation and making sure that if you're in a territory where there could be a crisis, that you prepare your data and geographic information to make sure that once the crisis does arrive, if it does arrive, you will try and reduce its impact. But it's also the question of working together after a specific emergency to help the territory we're talking about rebuild itself. So how do you make this possible in a vertical way? It's by making sure that you have certain methodologies for emergency context with data that is up to date, that is simple, that is precise, that takes in the context, the cultural context of a specific territory, and that is appropriate when you're talking about public, be it the general public, be it other organizations, or be it people from that territory that need the data to advance on their projects. So it's important to have proper tools, but I think these 2 days sessions have showed us how there are tools that exist for proper information management. It's a question of how you're going to set them up in terms of methodology for both internal and external dissemination of information. So internal in your organization, external with other organizations and the general public. In terms of horizontal, it's a question of having data that is structured, that is organized, that will mean that another organization will be able to understand the data that you're talking of. Sometimes the quality can not be that good, and so organizations are always afraid to share their information when it's not of that good quality. But it's always better to have information that is incomplete, but that will still help decision making. And the important thing is having proper metadata to be able to share it the way we want. Of course, it's a question of having data up to date, meaning preparing the data before an emergency, as I was saying just before, and the question of dissemination of information with other organizations. So really the main point is being able to follow the whole phases of a crisis, and forgetting about having only the immediate response to the crisis. It's obviously the most important moment, the moment where we need proper data, but that data won't come out of nowhere. And if you don't prepare it properly beforehand by working together, I don't think it'll be as of good quality as it could be for both the emergency and the reconstruction. So the debate is really today, what type of methods, what types of technologies can we